This image is incredible. Not only is it my favorite image of this entire critique, I was close to giving this 5. This image is fantastic. How can you possibly give this 2 stars? Hey guys, welcome to another Critique the Community. Today we're going to be critiquing images of strength, but if you would like to be part of the next critique, we're going to be doing composite imagery, and I'm working really hard to get Josh Rossi. He's an amazing commercial photographer. He's really known for these composite style images. He lives in Puerto Rico on this island with us, and so I'm gonna try to get him to drive over here to our studio and be a guest critiquer in the next one. If you've ever taken pictures of people in the studio and then put them on different backgrounds and stuff, that's what the next critique is all about, and I'm sure it's gonna be awesome having Josh be a part of that.
And just getting rid of one of us.
Exactly, exactly. Now, before we get into this critique, Patrick, I have a gift for you. And I've held on to this for a while. I've been waiting for a critique to give you this gift. And as you know...
Does it have to do with strength?
No, maybe the opposite. Maybe the opposite. But as you know, people complain when we wear shorts and flip-flops in the studio because they say they don't want to see our nasty ass feet and legs. I've listened, guys. I have put on pants and I try to wear shoes for this just because I don't want to hear the complaining.
It's just too hot in Puerto Rico to be wearing pants.
You just don't care. You just wear whatever you have on.
I wore pants today at the DMV because I had to. But.
Okay. Well, you know, I was thinking to myself, what are Patrick's favorite shoes? Flip-flops, and then, of course, the famous moon boots, right? You have become known around the world.
I should start wearing those here.
You should. You should wear these in the critique, but because we've moved to Puerto Rico, you haven't even brought the boots down here. So I was at the store the other day, and I think I may have found something that's kind of the best of both worlds.
They're in the shape of shoes.
Yes. My wife wrapped these for you.
Yeah, this looks like something my dad would do.
Yeah.
All right, so am I just gonna dig into this?
Yeah, go for it. And let me start another camera here so you guys can see a little better.
What in the world? They're like moon sandals. This looks like something Von Wong would wear. So, but people are still gonna see my feet.
I know. They're the worst shoes I've ever seen in my entire life. These are quite possibly the ugliest shoes.
I don't even know how they. Let's see here. Get the toes so everyone can. Oh yeah, there we go. And then these.
They were on sale for $11, and when I saw them, the store was packed with them. I don't think in the history of the world a single person has ever bought these shoes, but when I saw them,
there's like fur in them.
Yeah, there's fur. It's boots with the fur.
They're Uggs, official Uggs.
Yeah, these are like super high-end shoes.
I got my first pair of Uggs. Ready to critique some strength?
Let's do it. Let's do it. I made the executive decision for this critique to only critique 10 images. I feel like we could do this a little bit faster. I feel like because I was the one that picked out these images, David, the guy who normally does, recently had a baby. So this was the first time ever I went through all the images and I picked 10 images.
So you are to blame if this critique.
Yeah, feel free to comment and tell me that you don't like it with 10, but I feel like we can move a little bit faster, and I picked 10 images that I found interesting for one reason or another. I feel like a lot of times with the 20 images, just 20 random images, half of them are just horrible images I don't really have much to say about. I think each of these 10 are interesting in their own way, so I'm hoping this critique is going to be a little bit better. This is the highest rated image. It gets a free tutorial, and David will be reaching out to you to give you the free tutorial. Are you ready?
I believe so.
3, 2, 1. 3 stars. We agree. You know, obviously this model looks fantastic. He fits the part, no doubt.
Do you think we should start wearing shorts like this in our critiques?
I think shorts like that and boots like these.
He almost has what I have on.
He does kinda. Yeah, but his toes aren't out. But yeah, I think that would be an incredible look for you.
What keeps this from going to a 4 for you?
I feel like the composition's a little off. Don't you? The fact that the
so much
weights aren't centered, you know?
Yeah.
It feels like the left side of the frame should be cropped off a little bit, but you know, I feel like it's good, the lighting's good, the model's good, but when I really look at it, I just say to myself, is this the best image from the shoot? I don't know. It's a good image. I'm just not absolutely
I like
blown
the
away.
atmosphere. I don't know what they did. Is that chalk that's
Yeah,
like
I think
all
it's chalk.
over?
You know,
so
he
they
probably
hit it a lot to get that much in the air, but it adds a lot to it.
Yeah, I think it looks great. It's just that left side feels so dead without the chalk. You know?
I like how they put the camera really low too. I've seen a lot of fitness shots like this where the gym just doesn't look that exciting, but they still show the gym. I feel like putting the camera down low has really given an interesting perspective. And then, of course, having the, I guess it's some kind of garage door type of grating on the back, you know?
Yep.
Looks really nice. You think that guy's on steroids? Look at those legs.
I think he might
Is
be
that
on
possible?
He's on the picograms. Yeah, he's got a pinch of salt in an Olympic-sized swimming pool.
Is that a John Jones joke?
Yeah, it is. All right, community gives it 3.07. So this was the highest rated image, and it's 3 stars. So that
Fitness isn't going to be our community strength.
Yes, however, because I chose the images, I chose better images than David normally chooses. So do not fret. I think we're gonna see some better ones.
I think so.
3, 2, 1. 3 stars. We agree again. You know, incredible model, fantastic physique, obviously. Pretty good lighting. Fairly boring background. I just feel like it's solid. It's good enough to be in your portfolio, but you know, you take this exact image and you put some war scene behind them or something from Game of Thrones, and boom, now it's a 4 or 5 star image.
Do you see this like ring flash haloing dodge burn thing like all the way around him? I don't know if it's just my screen or these lights are so bright they're kind of haloing, but I just keep seeing his forearm and like things around the dark edges just kind of has this halo that looks a little unnatural.
On his body or just the background?
Like right around his forearm that's like close up.
On the
camera.
background?
On the background.
Okay. Yeah, I see that. I would imagine that, you know, he's probably recovered some of the shadows a little bit, and maybe it's created some of that blooming.
How do you feel about his face being down and like his eyes? Or I mean, I know putting your eyes in shadow kind of makes you a little more mysterious, but do you feel like it kind of feels to me like when you're the assistant wedding photographer and you're off to the side and you're taking pictures of people but they're not looking at the camera, it's kind of got this like either there's something really interesting going on below that you can't see, or
well, you know, that's a really, I didn't think about that. I don't have a problem with him looking down, but now that you mention it, maybe a more interesting angle to the shot is lowering the camera and kind of shooting up towards his face a little bit. I could see that being really interesting, especially with a wider lens, you know, really exaggerating the size of his arms. That could be
I
cool.
just feel like with all the harsh light, it's kind of hard to read his face. It's he's got some interesting wrinkles and shadows going on, though.
The community gives it 2.87. This one was probably a little too sexy to put in the critique. It was one of the higher rated ones. I put it in there. Probably going to get kicked off the YouTube for this one, but are you ready?
I am.
3, 2, 1. I went 2, you went 3. I feel like there's potential here, but you know, I don't really like the background, you know, just the crappy Olin Mills fabric. The model, although I'm sure she's got to be a great dancer to be able to pull this off. I just feel like the lighting is a little sloppy, the way it's, you know, really falling off. Like it's a correct exposure on her face, but then on her legs it's kind of dark.
What would you do? Pull the light further away so that the difference between her legs and her face were more similar, or
maybe, or I'd use a really large light source and kind of put it at an angle so that it was lighting, you know, multiple places on her body rather than just above her head. Those two things to me, the lighting and the background, just kind of make this feel cheaper than I think it needs to be.
I don't even really mind the background. I know the background's one of the cheapest things you could put back there, but for some reason this is kind of back in style. Like the muslin that's got the wrinkles and everything.
Yeah.
I think for me there's a few things that stand out to me. How can I tastefully talk about these? First is, I feel like her expression is just very dead.
Right.
I would love to almost see her doing like a Fred Astaire, like some kind of pose where she's like looking up and it's more Vogue, you know, it's like something out of like the Madonna video where her arms are doing something more interesting and she's looking up in this pose. I just feel like it would be a little more epic. Where this, it's kind of like, I don't want to say carnival, but it's like she's done this so many times and she's like, have you gotten the picture yet? Like she's bored of this activity.
Right.
And then I feel like, you kind of alluded to this, it's just a little too sexy. It's like she's this ballerina, but then she's topless. And then I don't know if you can see through her underwear, but I'm like, just retouch that out. But it's just, it's a little weird to me when you take the female body and you have this feminine, you know, portrait in the ballerina stuff, but then you have her topless. It just, it starts to say creepy old man to me a little bit, you know? And I'm not saying that a woman can't be, you know, naked or covering up like this and it's still beautiful, but I always think of like, what is the photographer doing? Because I'm a photographer. And I just feel like if she had some kind of top on, you know, that's flowy or dressy, or I don't know what a ballerina, maybe she'd be like in a one piece, like a onesie or something. But I just think you could make this more about her strength and her, where it kind of goes into the sexy feel. But I don't know that that takes it away from being a 3. These are just things that I'm putting on this image that kind of bother me. So I think, like you said, the lighting, if she was looking in a different direction and maybe the light was a little off axis, you know, like off to the left or the right, and then she was looking into the light and she was dressed a little more reasonable, I think this could be a really awesome picture.
Community gives it 2.81, so they're a little bit more on your side.
This image was just on the front of Fstoppers.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, this is like, I think this is a photo of the day.
Are you ready?
I am ready.
3, 2, 1. I went 4, you went 3. I feel like, what did you just rate the last one?
I've rated everything a 3 so far. They're
all right.
all in the realm
I mean,
of...
so you think this is an equivalent level to the creepy old man shot that you
I would place the last image on, I know we have like these micro scales, closer to a 3.0, and this is closer to a 4.
Okay.
It's like a 3.5-ish. This is a strong 3 to me.
Yeah. I feel like this is done really well. I love the fact that they have those really hard kicker lights behind everybody. I think it makes their faces look interesting. Obviously, these people aren't models, so they don't really know how to pose, especially, create an interesting facial expression. But because there's so many of them and they're small, it doesn't really pull me out of it. But then I feel like the photographer's done a really good job of adding that blue in the background and then the smoke in the bottom foreground. That really pulls this image together. You can imagine if this image was just taken on pure white, it would be the crappiest looking image ever, but the background and the foreground pull this together for me.
I guess I'm just left wondering what these guys do. Like, I don't know if it's the guy in the middle, but he always takes me back to like Karate Kid.
Okay.
But I know that are they dressed like pit guys or race car drivers?
Yeah, for some reason I think that. For some reason I think some sort of winter sport. It's like a bobsled team, or what's the one where they're sweeping the ice?
No,
curling.
Curling.
This is the Swedish curling team. Yeah. Don't you recognize them? Yeah.
Well, when I first glanced at this, I just read Terminex. Yeah, they're like the most stylish exterminators.
Yeah.
I do like the photo. I just wish that there was something to kind of give me a hint of like what they do. Maybe it'd be some text, and I know we don't critique based on like layout and stuff necessarily, but it's a very cool image.
I think 3.5 is the correct number. Community, though, is a little tougher than us at 2.8. Now, this image, I just had to throw this one in there. There was some bad images in this critique, but this one
was not one of them.
No, this one was one of the finest images I've ever. I mean, I don't know what's going on in this image. This is creepy on so many levels, but then it's also
he's almost like a brunette Macaulay Culkin. Like, he's got this like weird.
But then somebody once told me that if you can see the white part of the eye below someone's iris,
they're on drugs.
They're on drugs or they're insane.
Yeah.
So I don't know what the story is with this guy. I don't know if this is a photographer.
He's hanging out with some lions. He's got to be insane.
Yeah, like what the heck? type of image is this? You should have saved this image for the composite image because I could be wrong, I don't think he was actually with those lions. I think this could be Photoshop.
Okay.
3, 2, 1. Come on, you can't give it 3 stars.
Dude, if I was scrolling through someone's portfolio and that was in there, I would be like, this is pretty good.
Shut your mouth. No.
I think I own this guy's shirt. I think I have that same shirt.
So what do you seriously give this?
I mean, you can't give it a snapshot. It's got to be a 2 by definition. Some work went into this. Your mom couldn't create that.
I don't know. I think anyone with a camera and Microsoft
I
Paint.
think it needs work. I think you could potentially see this picture pulled off really well, and it's like the cover of a Netflix show or something.
Wait a minute, what are you talking about
I'm
right
just saying
now?
this needs work. It needs better retouching. It needs better lighting.
Like better photography, better model, better clothing, better background, better lions, better. Okay, if it had everything better, then the image would
His
be better.
hair's pretty good.
He does have really nice hair.
So I think it just
hair.
needs work.
Okay.
I don't want to discourage this photography.
All right, community gives it 1.3. Let's move on.
Oh gosh. Okay.
3, 2, 1. Really?
I don't like this image.
Okay, so maybe I am in the minority here. I was going through images. I was just trying to find the 10 most interesting images. I overlooked this thumbnail. I did not click on it. Later on, but right before we filmed, I found this, and I went, oh my gosh, this is my favorite image in the entire critique.
Yeah.
This has to be in the critique. I then saw what the community rated it, which is 2.45.
Yeah.
And I thought, you guys are insane. Like, I have no respect for our community. This image is incredible. Not only is it my favorite image of this entire critique, I was close to giving this 5. I feel like this is one of the most interesting compositions. It represents strength in such a unique way. The fact that her hair is flying out like that is amazing. The lights on the ceiling make it so interesting. The way that she is lit. This image is fantastic. How can you possibly give this 2 stars?
I just don't feel like it shows off the subject well, and the lights aren't that interesting. I mean, I just don't find, I keep thinking her head's been shrunk. It's like one of those people with the tiny heads, like, and she looks hunched back. I mean, I got a hunched back, but like this is a whole different level. Like, it's like there's symmetry going on, and there's interesting backlight maybe, but I'm just not a big fan of this image. I don't think this is the strongest image in this critique. I think you were
But
crazy.
not only that, you don't even think this should be in someone's portfolio.
No.
You're giving this 2 stars.
Yeah, I feel like, if you were scrolling through somebody in the UFC or something and they were taking pictures, and then you got to this, unless you knew who this was or there was somebody being thrown up in the air, something else going on. I just feel like...
I just feel like the simplicity of this is what makes it so incredible. But obviously, I am in the minority here. I mean, our community has rated this. 84 people have rated this on average 2.45 stars. You rated it even lower at 2 stars. I rated it 4 myself.
Yeah.
So I am in the minority here. Let me know in the comments if you guys think I'm crazy. Is this image as bad as Patrick thinks it is? Or is this image the best in the entire critique? I don't know. I feel like I'm in, Twilight Zone right now because I feel like this is such a unique,
It's
cool
unique.
image.
I'm not saying it's not. Every photo is probably unique by definition, but it's not something you see every day. I don't know, though, that it's my favorite image. It just doesn't sit well with me. It's just kind of like, like I want to see the expression in someone's face more than I want to see like a ponytail flying up in the air. I don't know.
Here's the thing. We could argue about this all day. I am going to use my powers as the owner of Fstoppers because we forgot to do a random tutorial winner.
No. What, you're going to use it on this?
I am going to give Caleb, because Caleb, I think you are being unfairly critiqued. I think this image is incredible. I think you deserve a tutorial. So David will reach out to you. You won the tutorial. Next up. Are you ready?
I think so.
3, 2, 1. 3 stars. We agree. I see so much potential in this image. And no offense to whoever the person is in this image, but like everything about this image is the exact opposite of what this facial expression is showing to me. I feel like this could be an incredible, elaborate fashion image where a girl or a guy is jumping similarly to this, but without the goofy smile. I could see this being some scary type photo or some superhero type photo. But this guy in his jeans and, you know, puffy sweatshirt or whatever, making the goofy face and the tennis shoes, it's like, everything about this image is so cool. I love the background. I love the lighting. I love the jumping.
Yeah.
I just don't like the outfit and the expression.
This reminds me of just like the jumps that I do on Facebook. It's like, oh, cool location. Let's get something that for that series is
Yeah, but
cool.
the lighting on this is usually what, like, you know, what you do is just snapshots for Facebook.
I'd almost like to see the light a little more punchy, like another light or two in here, you know, to make him really stand out. But when you look at the styling, it's like I keep going to the top part of his pants, and that area looks really weird.
You sure he doesn't have a blue shirt on? That's got to be what's going on.
Oh, maybe that is, but it's this weird bulgy thing.
Yeah.
And you could take the liquefy tool and just pull that shirt down more to make the line, you know what I mean? Like this line go all the way up.
Yeah.
Like there's little stuff like that you could do if it warranted doing that. I'm not sure that this does, but it just feels like a test shoot. It's like, here's my photo assistant, get in there. Here's what the model will be doing something like.
So much potential. Well, we still gave it 3 stars. Community gives it 2.48.
How do you like this ponytail? Is this the most incredible?
So I chose this image. I think we should rate first before I sway you. 3, 2, 1. 3 stars. We agree? I feel, you know, obviously this is a super sexy image, but I think it's been done. They've used shadow to kind of hide the bootay and
the tramp stamp. They've used shadow to hide that as well.
That's true. My biggest.
I didn't mean to call her a tramp.
No, not her. That's the stamp.
What the stamp is.
Right.
You got to watch what you say these days.
That's true. My biggest critique with this image, I feel like the lighting all over this is really interesting, but the highlight on her elbow and her face feels a little hot to me. Do you agree with that?
Yeah. Do you like the color temperature? It's like a different. It's like blue.
Yeah, it feels kind of white, and then everything else feels yellow. Yeah. For that reason, it's a little. It just feels like you could tone that down in Photoshop the slightest bit. And then, what do you think about the dark shadows on her back? Obviously, they're playing with the light and the dark to really make the muscles pop. I think that's cool. But do you think they could recover some of those shadows? And
I don't really mind the shadows on her back. I mean, that's what you would do if you wanted to show all the muscles.
Maybe. I don't know that you have to have black shadows.
I'm more like wondering if I would like this background on the right side to be more on the left side. Like it's like black and then there's a background.
Yeah, that's true.
Where I almost think like if it was all black, maybe that would look a little simpler and maybe a little easier to pull off. But if you had the color on the right side on the left, maybe that would make it feel a little more graphic. It would have just some texture back there. It looks like a nice background. I don't know if that's something they have in the studio or if that's just an old beat up wall, but I really like the tones going on there. Maybe the tones happening because of the highlight. But I would love to have just seen a little bit more of that on the left.
Community gives it 2.74. 3, 2, 1. I'm in between a 3 and a 4 on this. I think I'm leaning 4.
It's a cool image. This style, I don't know what it is about it, but everything's coming together and it feels very 90s. I don't know if it's the color palette. I don't know if it has this kind of film look to it. And, you know, they've got some crushed blacks and then blown out highlights. But something about this definitely screams like commercial photography, and I'm capable of getting in there with, you know, with the artist and with the athlete. But I could just imagine this tweaked a little bit better, and it would look more polished and more modern with the same file. But the way that it's edited just has this retro feel, which is cool. I'm not saying one's better than the other, but I really do like it. And it's got the exotic background, which I think is nice. It shows that you're in some place that's really interesting. I like this image a lot.
Yeah, I feel like the composition is super interesting. That's what jumped out at me. The lighting is cool too. I don't know if this was just done in post, but you know, notice the little kind of highlight on his hand and the shadow being cast. I don't know if that's a strobe light or what, but it doesn't seem like natural light.
Looks like a little Dodge or something.
Yeah, but then it looks like his hand is casting a pretty hard shadow on that rock. Maybe that's an optical illusion, and that's the rock itself.
Yeah, you're right.
But I don't know. I really dig this image, and I think it's well done. Community, 2.76. You guys are harsh. Ready?
Yep.
3, 2, 1. 3 stars. We agree. This image is really interesting to me. I love the natural separation down the middle of the frame where you kind of have the black on the right side. I wish there was a little bit more detail on the right side, but it creates this really interesting composition. And then the natural lighting that's on him is super interesting. And then his pose, forgive me if I'm about to offend someone, but it looks like he has no idea what he's doing. And so it feels like there's this whole story going on here. I could totally see this as a scene in a movie where, you know, the nerd is, you know, he's training to fight somebody. I don't know what
you get the other Karate Kid guy in from the first,
from the Terminex,
right?
Yeah. And I don't know. This image just really is interesting to me.
And do you think this is like a candid shot, or do you think this is something to where somebody was like, "Oh, go up there and kick the bag"?
I can't figure out why this image was taken, what's going on at all.
I don't think he looks like he doesn't know what he's doing. I think he's just mid-kick. I think he actually looks pretty good there. I just keep
hold on. Now, you are a black belt in what martial art?
It's Taekwondo.
Taekwondo. So there's a lot of punching and kicking.
Yeah.
I am not a black belt in Taekwondo.
No, yes, you don't appreciate.
So I don't know, but to me,
he's getting the
way his weight is and the way he's got his, you know, his planted foot bent and everything, it doesn't look like he's kicking with any power whatsoever. But you as a black belt, maybe you can explain to me the technique he's using here.
This looks like a roundhouse. His right foot was back and now he's pivoted and kicked, but like I just don't know that you can really, like, it almost looks like he's coming off the kick, but then the bag isn't really moving. So I don't know. Like with a fast shutter, you could get any weird position with a kick. I don't know that you're going to be able to say where he is in here. Getting back to the image though, I keep looking at this and I keep thinking of like, I don't know, like a Greg Heisler image or something. I keep wanting someone in the shadow, like another fighter sitting down and a light hitting him or something. Or his trainer, you know, or I mean, it could be anything. It could be like a little light and there's like a cat roaming down there. Just something on the right-hand side, I think. And that's why I asked if this was a posed image or if this was a candid. Because if it's a candid, you can't just put somebody over there. But if you're trying to make a really interesting piece of art and it's supposed to be like a photojournalistic image that you've taken the liberty of kind of placing people where you want them, somebody on that right-hand side with a little light coming straight down would look awesome. I think that would agree. And then you might say, well, maybe it shouldn't be black and white now. You know, if the color back there was like a green, dingy green, and then you had a different color over here on the right, I think this image could be amazing. All that being said, that's not what's going on in this photo. But I think it's a great, we did this video on composition. I think it's a really good use of dead space. And they've kind of framed everything up, like one half of the image is interesting, the other half is completely black. I think it's working in this case, even though I said it could be stronger with something going on the right-hand side. He needs these shoes. I mean, if he was like kicking with, you know, like doing like a jump kick like that, you know?
Yeah. With the toes out.
Yeah, with the toes out. I think it would. I mean, let me know. Maybe we can get them a pair of these. They have a bunch of these at Marshall's.
Marshall's is full of those shoes. Dude.
Yeah.
It's like racks and racks and racks just of those shoes. Nobody's interested.
Yeah.
I think the lady, when I walked up and bought them, was shocked. All right, guys, thank you for watching. Again, if you'd like to be a part of the next critique where we're going to force Josh to come and be a part of it, make sure you click on the link in the description. You can upload your composite images right now. And as always, if you want to check out our tutorials on all different types of photo and video, head over to fstoppers.com/store. The highest rated image and then one random winner or someone who's been treated very unfairly will win one of those free tutorials. We'll see you next time.
Can't wait to read the comments on this one.
That's true. Do you know how good of a friend I am? I just looked these things up. Look at this. These shoes new cost $225. Oh my gosh, how about you designer flip-flops?
Even on sale, they're $130. You got these for what, 16?
11.
11? Oh my gosh, we gotta get another pair.
Yeah, if anybody's looking for these, just head over to Marshall's in Humacao,
like
Puerto
really
Rico. Oh my gosh.
They're like...
Man, I didn't know you could do this.